friends, welcome to the channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Lilian and welcome in my kitchen. Oh wait, the other one. Today we are meal prepping some lunches for this week. We are doing two recipes. We are doing breakfast burritos as well as some tortellini salad. For the salad I need tortellini, which is a pasta. I am doing only half a recipe. The recipes will be in the description down below. The tortellini needs to be cooled before assembling the salad. So we will be boiling that first. So we will let this water come up to a boil. Then we will get started with our breakfast burrito. The recipe calls for a breakfast sausage, which is, I guess, an American thing. In America you have like these plastic wrapped sausages with seasoning and stuff. But we don't have those here, so I'm just going to use a pork sausage, another type of sausage. This is also seasoned already, but we don't need the skin. So I'm just going to take the skin off and use it instead of the American type sausage. We are just going to be browning this up and then setting it aside. Our water is boiling, so I will add the tortellini. And I will set a timer according to the directions. These directions say to cook it for 13 minutes. However, I would like to add like a minute or two to that, just to make sure it's all the way cooked through. Because I don't really like the al dente version. Also, I have kind of let go of a script for this video. I felt like I needed a script for the other two videos that I've already recorded, just because I needed it for confidence, if you will. But now I have kind of let go of the script, and we will see if it turns out, if it turns into a mess, or whether I can actually remember to say everything I need to say. But yeah, bear with me. I want this sausage to be really finely chopped. No, not chopped, but like into little pieces. Because we are going to wrap this into tortillas for the breakfast burritos. And it will help with rolling it if we have it finely cut into little pieces. While that's going, I can start cutting up some of these veggies. Now I know these knives are not sharp, they are not my knives, it's not up to me. But they work, so it's not that bad. The recipe for the breakfast burritos only calls for 1 onion. However, I love onions and I feel like your onions in America are a lot bigger. So I am using 3 a bit smaller onions for this recipe. Also, don't worry, this board has been washed up since it did touch the meat, the raw meat before. So, yeah. drain out the pasta and shortly rinse it with some cold water to stop it from cooking. And we will let that sit and cool for now. Technically I only need half a paprika, so I am just going to save this and snack on it later. Alright, our sausage is cooked all the way. We will set it aside. And we will cook our veggies in here. Onion and pepper going in. And we will just cook those until they are nice and soft. I am going to season this with some salt and pepper. Now, the recipe calls for frozen hash browns. When I think of hash browns, I think of those patty formed type potato thingies. But what she uses looks like diced potatoes. So I guess that's this kind of stuff. So I'm just going to use this. It calls for 1.5 cup. I'm just going to eyeball this. Spread it out over the baking sheet. I'm just going to sprinkle on a bit of oil. This is olive oil, paprika, onion powder, salt and pepper to taste. I'm going to mix this up, and that goes into the oven at 450 degrees Fahrenheit, the recipe calls for. I believe that's in Celsius 230, so that's what we're gonna do. I have no idea how long this needs to be in the oven for, so we're just going to keep an eye on it and see when it looks golden brown. And halfway we are gonna try to pull it out, toss it around, so all sides get roasted. Our onions and peppers are cooked, so we are going to add those to the sausage. Now the only thing left we need to cook for the breakfast burritos are eggs. The recipe calls for 6 large eggs. I only have these little bit smaller ones, so I am going to use 8. To our eggs we are going to add a little bit of milk. I got no idea how much to put, so we'll just put some, eyeball it, I guess. And some pepper. Now Becky from Acre Homestead, she's the one who I got this recipe from. She doesn't like to add salt to eggs because she thinks eggs are salty by itself, I guess. However, I usually add salt to my eggs. However, I'm just gonna try and see how it is without the salt. Perhaps she's right. We are gonna whisk this up. I guess that's good enough. And then I will scramble them. I am gonna call this good. Because I am going to reheat the breakfast burritos once I eat them, I don't want to overcook these eggs now. The potatoes are cooked. I ended up cooking them at 450 Fahrenheit or 230 Celsius for like 12 minutes-ish, and halfway I did toss them around. Now they are nice and soft, so I guess that's good. And we will let them sit here and cool down. Okay, the eggs have cooled down, the hash browns have cooled enough, and sorry for the crinkling. I'm gonna add those to our mixture and mix it up. So in this bowl I have our sausage with our onion, peppers, eggs and hash browns, and I will, or potatoes if you will, mix this up, and this is our mixture for the breakfast burritos done. I've got 6 tortillas right here, and they have, I guess they got caught into something somehow, but I can feel there's quite an edge in here. But we will see how they turn out. Yeah, there's an edge, but that's okay. This one is kind of cut, but we can make it work. I'm just gonna lay out these tortillas. Now, you are supposed to warm tortillas up in the microwave for a little bit before you use them. That will make them more pliable and easy to work with without breaking them. However, I have worked with these particular tortillas before and I've noticed that these don't really need that. So I'm just gonna work with it. To our tortillas we are going to add our mixture. Just gonna divide this. I can already tell we probably have too much mixture. I am throwing it all over the place. But this is a test round. If I like these recipes, I will probably in the future make more of them at once. But for now, I want to test it. And this smells and looks delicious so far. Yeah, I don't want to overfill these, so I'm just gonna leave it at this. And this extra mixture won't get thrown away. I will just eat this separately. Then we're gonna sprinkle over some cheese. This is a pre-shredded cheddar. I was looking for just a block of cheddar to ground myself or to shred myself, because I know the texture is gonna be different with this. However, the blocks are no longer sold in our supermarket. So that's a shame, because I really like cheddar. It is more commonly used in America than it is here in the Netherlands. So that's kind of a shame, because I like it. However, we are gonna make it work. Perhaps other supermarkets still have it. And I have also shredded up some other cheese to add to this. This is just a regular cheese. I don't know which type it would be in American. But I'm just gonna put that on top as well. And now we will try to roll these up. That's gonna be fun, I guess. Let's see. The ones that are cut, I'm just gonna fold the cut side inwards. At least that's what I'm gonna try. I have put in way too much filling, I can tell. But we will just try and squeeze it. So I will just flip it over, partly. Fold in the sides. Like that, and then continue rolling. And that barely fits. And then that is our burrito roll. I will do that to all 6 of these. Okay. The tortillas being cut already doesn't help this process, but it is kind of working. Now this one is too full, and this is the one that's most likely to fall apart. So I'm just gonna eat this one now as a test. To be honest, I did not really think much of this beforehand, but this does taste really good. So that's a winner. Now we are going to wrap all of these burritos in some saran wrap. Okay, so now I want one burrito in the fridge. There we go. 4 are going into the freezer. There we go. So these breakfast burritos are supposed to be freezable and then reheatable. So I will test it for you and see how they hold up. And then I will show you that in the end of the video. I will put in a clip when I go and eat them. One more thing about the breakfast burritos that I forgot. I am going to store these in the freezer within the original tortilla bag. Just for an extra layer of protection. In there. Close it. And this package is going into the freezer. We are ready for our second recipe now, the tortellini salad. The tortellini already has cooked and cooled, basically. But first I need to cut up our other ingredients and make up the dressing and everything. So we will just do that. The recipe calls for, well, I'm doing half a recipe, so I would need a quarter of a red onion. However, these red onions are like tiny, so I'm just gonna put one whole onion in there. Start with that. I might even need more, but we will see. I am just cutting this up as finely as I can. Then we need a quarter of a cucumber, but I'm just going to use a little bit more because I like cucumber. Okay, and the recipe calls for 12 cherry tomatoes, so I would need 6. That's 6, but I'm grabbing a few more because I like tomatoes. And just slicing those in half. There we go. Then I need 6 ounces of mozzarella, which would be 170 grams. This is 150. I figured that would be close enough. I'm just gonna cut these mozzarella balls in half. You can also use a bigger piece of mozzarella and just cut it into cubes or something. And the recipe also calls for some salami. However, I am going to skip that because I don't necessarily like salami. And that also makes this recipe vegetarian now. So that's always a nice thing to have. There we go, that's the mozzarella. We are just going to set this aside and start with our dressing. For our dressing, we are going to mix up 1/6 of a cup of olive oil, which is 40 milliliters. 1/8 of a cup of red wine vinegar. However, I don't have red wine vinegar on hand. This is regular white vinegar, which will do. And that is 30 milliliters. So that's this, basically. 3 tablespoons of honey. I don't have the measuring cups yet, so this will have to do for now. 1 tablespoon. A teaspoon of oregano. And 1.5 cloves of garlic. But I really like garlic, so I'm just gonna add 2. And this is all the measurements for half a recipe. And then again add salt and pepper to taste. I'm gonna mix this up. Have a little taste. Oh, that's interesting. I really like that. Okay. That's all the components for the salad done. So let me show you how I plan to save this. Now for the salads I bought these jars, and I figured, I have seen on YouTube and everything, that people store their salads 1 portion at a time in these jars, and then they put the dressing at the bottom so it doesn't soak all the other ingredients, and then put everything else on top. And then you have this very aesthetic looking layered jar in which you can store your salad. And then when you want to eat it, you just grab 1 jar, which is supposed to be the perfect amount for 1 meal, turn it upside down on a plate, shake everything out, and there's your salad. So we are gonna try that. This is the first time that I am using these jars for salad, so I have no idea how many jars this would fill. So we are just gonna wing it and hope for the best. Okay, here is a tortellini. I believe the tortellini is like at least half of the volume of all the ingredients we have. So I want to start with filling the jars with tortellini like halfway. And I think that's gonna be good. I am gonna use my hands. My hands are clean. I have more control over my hands than I have over a spatula or whatever. And the tortellini are kind of fragile, so we are just gonna roll with this. Okay, yeah, we are only gonna fill 2 jars with this, pretty clearly. And I did taste a tortellini. They are really tasty, so that's good. Okay, that's the base done. We are gonna divide up our dressing between the 2 jars. I think that's about even. Okay. Then, with all our other ingredients divided over the jars, so half of the cucumber goes into 1 jar, half of the cucumber goes into the other jar, half of the mozzarella goes into 1 jar, and half goes into the other, and same goes for the red onion and the tomatoes. Now you are supposed to add fresh basil and parsley to this, however I don't have that, so I will just add some dried stuff. Okay. Pop on the lid. And that is our salad done. I really like these layers. Okay, that's it for today. We have made up 2 portions of tortellini salad. We have made up 6 burritos, breakfast burritos. I already ate one, of course, which I really liked. So next time I will make more breakfast burritos. And I'm very curious to taste this salad. I do really think it's gonna be good. And yeah, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching and spending time with me in the kitchen. I hope you enjoyed it and find a reason to stay and join the family. I will see you next time. Bye guys. So this is a breakfast burrito that has been in the fridge for a few days, and I reheated it in the microwave. I found it just takes 1.5 minutes on like 600 watts to heat it up again. I was kind of worried that the tortilla would turn out mushy, but it didn't. And it is no different for the other burritos that were frozen. And in fact, I already have made another batch as I am editing this video. So this recipe is definitely a winner. Now regarding the tortellini salad, I did enjoy it, but I found that I just prefer the tortellini to be warm. So I might just try it with another type of pasta next time. Again, thank you so much for watching and hanging out with me. I will see you next time. Bye friends!